The morning sun rose over the farmlands of New Busan, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Jisoo wiped the sweat from her forehead as she checked the water levels in the hydroponic garden. At 17, she knew the routine by heart. Check the nutrients, adjust the water flow, and make sure each plant got enough light. It was the same work her parents had done for years, the same work everyone in the colony did to survive. But Jisoo wanted more. She looked up at the sky where the stars were fading with the morning light. Somewhere up there, beyond the dome of New Busan, real adventures were happening. Real life was waiting. "Jisoo, are you daydreaming again?" Her mother, Hana, called from the farmhouse doorway. "The tomatoes won't water themselves." "Coming, Mom," Jisoo called back, tearing her eyes away from the sky. Hana smiled as her daughter approached. Though she was dressed in the simple gray clothes all colonists wore, there was something different about Jisoo, a spark in her eyes that set her apart from the other colony kids. "Your father needs help with the East Field today," Hana said, handing Jisoo a packed lunch. "Try to focus on your work. The colony depends on every harvest." Jisoo nodded, but her eyes drifted again to the sky. A small ship was coming in for landing at the colony port. Visitors were rare on New Busan. "Who do you think that is?" she asked. Hana shrugged. "Supply ship, most likely. Governor Kang mentioned we'd get medical supplies this month." But Jisoo had seen enough supply ships to know this was different. It was sleeker, faster, the kind of ship that went to exciting places, not forgotten colonies. "I'm going to find out," she said suddenly, handing the lunch back to her surprised mother. "I'll help Dad after." "Promise." Before Hana could object, Jisoo was running toward the colony center, her long black hair trailing behind her. Hana sighed and shook her head. Her daughter had always been too curious for life on a farming colony. "Just like your father," she murmured, though a small smile played on her lips. The colony center was busier than usual. People gathered around the communication hub where Governor Kang was speaking with someone over the main screen. Jisoo pushed her way through the crowd until she could see. On the screen was a stern-faced woman in a military uniform. The Alliance Defense Force insignia gleamed on her shoulder. "Just a routine patrol," the officer was saying. "We've had reports of unusual activity in this sector." Governor Kang looked worried. "Krell activity? This close to New Busan?" Jisoo felt a chill run down her spine. Everyone knew about the Krell Imperium, an aggressive alien empire that had been pushing into human space for years. But they had never come this far into the outer colonies. "Nothing confirmed," the officer replied. "But stay alert. We'll remain in orbit for the next 12 hours to run scans." As the communication ended, worried murmurs spread through the crowd. Jisoo felt both fear and excitement. Real danger, real adventure. It was finally touching New Busan. "Everyone back to work," Governor Kang announced. "No need for alarm. The Alliance is watching over us." The crowd slowly dispersed, but Jisoo lingered, watching the governor speak quietly with his advisors. Their faces were grim. "You should be at the farm," a deep voice said behind her. Jisoo turned to find her father, Tae, standing there. Unlike her mother, Tae had a stern expression, but his eyes were kind. "Dad, I just wanted to see the ship," Jisoo explained. "Do you think the Krell really might come here?" Tae put a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "The Krell go where there are resources to take. New Busan is just a small farming colony. We're not worth their trouble." Jisoo wasn't sure if she felt relieved or disappointed. Part of her, the part that stared at the stars and dreamed of escape, almost wished for something to happen. Anything to break the endless routine of colony life. "Come on," Tae said. "The East Field won't tend itself." As they walked back toward their farm, Jisoo took one last look at the sky. The Alliance ship was visible now, a small silver dot orbiting the planet. "What do you think it's like?" she asked. "Being up there, seeing new worlds, fighting battles?" Tae's face darkened. "War isn't an adventure, Jisoo. I hope you never have to find out what it's like." Jisoo fell silent. Her father rarely talked about his past, but she knew he had been a soldier once. Before settling on New Busan, whatever he had seen out there among the stars, it had made him choose this quiet life instead. That night, Jisoo lay in bed, unable to sleep. The colony's artificial lighting had dimmed to simulate night, but through her small window she could see the real stars shining brightly. Somewhere up there, the Alliance ship was watching over them. A sudden blaring siren jolted her upright. The colony's emergency alert. Jisoo had never heard it before except during drills. She rushed to the window. Red warning lights flashed across the colony. In the distance, she saw something that made her blood run cold, flashes of light in the sky. Weapons fire. The door to her room burst open. Her father stood there already dressed. "Get up. Now," he ordered. "Put on warm clothes." "We're evacuating. What's happening?" Jisoo asked, though she already knew. "The Krell," Tae said grimly. "They're here." Jisoo dressed quickly, her heart pounding. By the time she joined her parents in the main room, her mother had packed 3 small bags with essentials. "The evacuation ships will take us to the emergency bunkers in the mountains," Tae explained, checking an old pistol that Jisoo had never seen before. "Stay close to me and your mother, no matter what happens." The family rushed outside to join the stream of colonists heading toward the evacuation point. The night sky was lit up with explosions as the Alliance ship fought against Krell vessels. "They're losing," someone in the crowd whispered. "The Alliance ship is outnumbered." A deafening explosion rocked the ground. Jisoo looked up to see the Alliance ship breaking apart, burning debris raining down on the colony. Panic spread through the crowd. People began pushing and shoving to reach the evacuation ships faster. "Stay together," Tae shouted over the noise, gripping Jisoo's hand tightly. But as they reached the colony center, a new sound filled the air, the whine of engines much closer than the battle in orbit. "Landing craft, they're coming down," someone screamed. The first Krell ships landed near the colony port, blocking the path to the evacuation ships. Colonial Defense Forces, little more than a police force with basic weapons, moved to intercept them. "This way," Tae pulled his family toward a side street. "We'll circle around to the south evacuation point." They ran through the panicked colony, the sounds of fighting growing louder behind them. Jisoo's lungs burned, but fear kept her moving. A massive explosion knocked them off their feet. Jisoo's ears rang as she struggled to stand. Through the smoke, she saw that the path ahead was blocked by burning debris. "We have to go back," Hana said, coughing from the smoke. As they turned around, 5 figures emerged from the smoke. Jisoo had never seen a Krell before, but she recognized them instantly. Tall, armored beings with 4 arms, each holding a weapon. Their helmet visors glowed an eerie blue in the smoke. Tae pushed Jisoo and Hana behind him, raising his pistol. "Run," he whispered to them. "I'll hold them off." "No." Jisoo grabbed her father's arm. Before they could argue further, the Krell opened fire. Tae shoved Jisoo to the ground as energy bolts flew over their heads. He returned fire, his old pistol seeming pathetically small against the Krell weapons. Somehow he hit one. The alien staggered back, blue blood seeping from its armor. "Now," Tae shouted, pulling Jisoo up. "Run!" They sprinted down a side alley, the remaining Krell in pursuit. Jisoo's heart hammered in her chest. This wasn't the adventure she had dreamed of. This was terror. They emerged near the colony school, where children and teachers huddled inside the reinforced building. Colonial Defense Forces had set up a barricade, exchanging fire with advancing Krell. In here, a defender waved them toward the school. As they ran for the entrance, energy bolts struck all around them. Jisoo heard her mother cry out in pain. "Mom!" she screamed, turning to see Hana fall to the ground. Tae rushed back to his wife, lifting her into his arms. Blood soaked her simple gray clothes. "Get inside," he shouted to Jisoo. Frozen in horror, Jisoo watched as more Krell appeared behind her parents. One fired a strange weapon that released a glowing net. It wrapped around both her parents, sending them crashing to the ground. "Dad! Mom!" Jisoo tried to run to them, but someone grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the school. "You can't help them," a colonial defender shouted, dragging her inside. "They're taking prisoners." The school doors slammed shut behind them, cutting off Jisoo's view of her parents being dragged away by the Krell. Inside, frightened children huddled with their teachers. Colonial defenders manned the windows, firing at Krell forces that were surrounding the building. "We're the last holdout," one defender explained grimly. "Evacuation ships are gone. Alliance reinforcements are hours away if they come at all." Jisoo stood in shock, her mind unable to process what was happening. Her parents were gone. Her home was under attack. Everything she had known was falling apart around her. A nearby explosion rocked the building. One of the defenders cried out and fell, his weapon clattering to the floor. Without thinking, Jisoo picked up the fallen rifle. "What are you doing?" another defender asked. Jisoo looked at the weapon in her hands, then at the frightened children behind her. Something shifted inside her. Jisoo stared up at the towering buildings of the Stellar Military Academy. After the small dome of New Busan, Earth itself seemed impossibly vast, and Seoul Station, where the academy stood, was overwhelming with its crowds and noise. "Impressive, isn't it?" Captain Daehyun said beside her. He had personally escorted her to Earth, pulling strings to get her admitted despite her age. Jisoo nodded, clutching her small bag of belongings. Everything she owned now fit in one bag. A few clothes given to her by Alliance relief workers and a small plant cutting from New Busan's hydroponic garden. It was all she had left of home. "The other cadets have been here for 2 weeks already," Daehyun explained as they walked toward the main entrance. "You'll need to catch up quickly." "I will," Jisoo promised. She had spent the journey from New Busan studying basic military protocols on a datapad. Sleep seemed less important than being prepared. At the registration desk, a stern-faced officer looked up from her screen. "Another one of your special cases, Captain Daehyun?" she asked with a raised eyebrow. "This is Jisoo," Daehyun said. "The defender of New Busan I told you about." The officer looked Jisoo up and down, clearly unimpressed by the thin girl in borrowed clothes. "We'll see if she lasts the first week," she said, sliding a key card across the desk. "Dormitory Block C, Room 42. Uniform allocation is at 0700 hours tomorrow." Jisoo took the key card, her face carefully blank. She had faced Krell warriors. She would not be intimidated by a desk officer. Daehyun walked her to the dormitory entrance. "This is where I leave you," he said. "I'm shipping out tomorrow, new assignment on the frontier." Jisoo felt a flutter of panic. Daehyun was her only connection in this new world. "You'll be fine," he said, seeming to read her thoughts. "Better than fine. I've never been wrong about potential, and you have more than most veterans I know." He gave her a formal salute. "Make me proud, cadet." Jisoo returned the salute, trying to remember the correct form from her studies. "Thank you, Captain." After he left, Jisoo made her way to room 42. Inside were 2 beds, 2 desks, and another girl who looked up from a datapad as Jisoo entered. "You must be the colony girl," the roommate said, setting aside her datapad. "I'm Yuna." "Jisoo," she replied, setting her bag on the empty bed. Yuna watched her unpack her meager belongings. "Is it true you fought the Krell with just a handful of civilian defenders?" Jisoo's hands paused over her bag. The memories were still too fresh, too painful. "We did what we had to do," she said quietly. Yuna seemed to sense her discomfort and changed the subject. "Breakfast is at 600. First class is at 800. Tactical theory with Commander Eunji." She grinned. "She's tough but fair. The best instructor in the academy." Jisoo nodded gratefully, both for the information and for Yuna's kindness. That night, lying in her academy bed, Jisoo stared at the ceiling. She couldn't sleep, her mind filled with images of her parents being dragged away by the Krell. Were they still alive? Were they being treated well? She had asked Captain Daehyun about prisoners, and he had been honest. The Krell rarely took them, and when they did, few were ever seen again. "I'll find you," she whispered into the darkness. "Whatever it takes." Morning came too soon. Jisoo dressed in her new cadet uniform, following Yuna to the mess hall. Hundreds of cadets sat at long tables, all in identical gray uniforms. As Jisoo entered with Yuna, conversations paused, heads turned, and whispers followed them. "That's her, the colony girl. I heard she killed 20 Krell single-handed. No way she's qualified to be here. Probably a publicity stunt." Jisoo kept her eyes forward, her face expressionless as she collected her food tray. "Ignore them," Yuna advised as they found seats. "They're just jealous because you've seen real combat while they've only played simulations." A tall boy approached their table, followed by a group of others. He had perfect posture and cold eyes. "So this is the famous Jisoo," he said, looking down at her. "I'm Sun-ho. My father is Admiral Park of the 3rd Fleet." Jisoo looked up at him calmly. "Nice to meet you," she said, though she didn't think it was nice at all. Sun-ho smiled without warmth. "The Academy has standards, you know. Being a hero in some backwater colony doesn't mean you belong here with the best of Earth." "Leave her alone, Sun-ho," Yuna said. "She earned her place." "We'll see about that," Sun-ho replied. "Combat simulations start this afternoon. Then we'll find out if the stories are true." With that, he and his friends walked away. Jisoo returned to her breakfast. "Who is he?" she asked Yuna quietly. "Sun-ho is top of the class so far. His father is a big deal in the Alliance fleet, lots of influence. Sunho thinks that means he's already an admiral too. Yuna sighed. Just stay out of his way. But staying out of Sunho's way proved impossible. In their first class, Tactical Theory, Commander Yunji divided them into teams for a strategy exercise. Jisoo found herself on the opposite team from Sunho, with each team planning a defense of a space station against a simulated Krell attack. Commander Yunji was a compact woman, with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. She moved between the teams, listening to their discussions without comment. When Jisoo suggested using the station's agricultural section to hide defense units, her team members looked skeptical. That's not standard procedure, one cadet argued. The Krell would expect defenders at weapon emplacements and security checkpoints, Jisoo explained. Not among tomato plants. Farming tactics won't work against the Krell, another cadet said dismissively. Jisoo's face flushed. I've faced the Krell, she said quietly. They follow patterns. They expect us to follow patterns too. Break the pattern and you gain advantage. From behind her, Commander Yunji's voice spoke. An interesting perspective, Cadet Jisoo. Please continue. Surprised, Jisoo outlined her complete strategy, using unexpected positions, creating false targets, and turning the station's ordinary systems into defensive tools. When both teams presented their strategies, Sunho's plan was textbook perfect, exactly what the Krell would expect. Both strategies have merit, Commander Yunji said after the presentations. Sunho's plan follows established doctrine. Jisoo's, she paused, breaks new ground. She loaded both strategies into the simulation computer and ran them against the Krell attack scenario. Sunho's defense held for 12 minutes before being overwhelmed. Jisoo's lasted 38 minutes, an academy record for first year. Cadets, Sunho's face darkened with anger as commander. Yunji nodded to Jisoo. Sometimes, fresh eyes see what experienced ones miss, she said. Well done, cadet. After class, Commander Yunji asked Jisoo to stay behind. Your file says you had no military training before New Busan, she said, studying Jisoo carefully. No, Commander. Yet you think like a tactical officer. Yunji tapped her desk thoughtfully. Your approach is unorthodox but effective. Where did you learn to think this way? Jisoo considered the question. On the farm, she answered honestly. Finding ways to protect crops from pests, maximizing growth with limited resources. It's about seeing patterns and finding efficient solutions. Yunji nodded slowly. The academy tends to create soldiers who think alike. That's useful for coordination, but dangerous for innovation. She looked directly at Jisoo. Don't let them change how you think. Cadet, the Alliance needs different perspectives. That afternoon in the combat simulator, Jisoo faced her next challenge. The simulator was a large room with moving platforms and holographic projections that could create any battle scenario. Today it was set up as an urban environment, with cadets divided into squads for a capture the flag exercise. Jisoo was assigned to a squad led by Sunho, who barely acknowledged her. You, he said, pointing at Jisoo, guard our rear, don't get in the way. Jisoo said nothing, taking the position assigned. But as the exercise began and Sunho led the squad straight down the main street toward the objective, Jisoo noticed movement on the rooftops. We're being flanked above, she called out. Sunho ignored her. Seconds later, simulated weapons fire rained down on the squad from the rooftops. Half the squad was killed instantly, their training suits locking up to simulate injuries. Fall back, Sunho ordered, diving for cover, but Jisoo was already moving, not back, but up. She scaled a drain pipe to the roof level, surprising the opposing squad members who were focused on the street below. Before they could react, she had eliminated 3 of them with her training weapon and captured their position. Clear, she called down to the remaining squad members. Come up this way. Sunho, trapped in the street with the rest of the squad, glared up at her. But the other cadets followed her lead, climbing up to the safer route Jisoo had secured. From the rooftops, they worked their way to the objective, capturing the flag with minimal additional losses. When the exercise ended, the squad was jubilant except for Sunho, who stormed out without a word. That was amazing, one cadet told Jisoo. Where did you learn to climb like that? Jisoo shrugged. New Busan had vertical hydroponic systems. I was always climbing to reach the top plants. Word of Jisoo's performance spread quickly through the academy. Some cadets began to seek her out, asking for advice or simply wanting to be associated with the rising star. Others, mostly friends of Sunho, went out of their way to make life difficult for her. Weeks turned into months. Jisoo excelled in tactical classes and combat simulations, but struggled with technical subjects and alliance protocol. Yuna helped. Lieutenant Jisoo stood at attention on the bridge of the Alliance battlecruiser Dauntless, trying not to stare at the vast expanse of stars visible through the main viewport. After years in the Academy's simulators, being on an actual warship felt both familiar and utterly new. Lieutenant Jisoo reporting for duty. "Captain," she said, saluting the man seated in the command chair. Captain Min was older than she expected. With deep lines around his eyes and silver threading through his black hair, he returned her salute without rising. "At ease, Lieutenant. Welcome to the Dauntless." His eyes scanned a datapad. "Top of your class at the Academy. Commendations from Commander Yunji. Impressive." "Thank you, sir." Captain Min set the datapad down. "Commander Yunji is an old friend. She says you think differently." It wasn't clear from his tone whether he considered this a good thing. "I try to consider all options." "Sir," Jisoo replied carefully. "On my ship we follow Alliance protocols, Lieutenant. They exist for a reason." Captain Min's voice was firm. "You'll serve as junior tactical officer under Commander Han. Follow his lead and learn our ways before suggesting any creative alternatives. Understood?" "Yes, sir." "Good. Commander Han will show you to your post. Dismissed." As Jisoo followed Commander Han from the bridge, she felt a twinge of disappointment. She had hoped for a more open-minded commander, someone like Daehyun or Yoonji who valued new ideas. Instead, Captain Min seemed committed to doing things by the book. "Don't take it personally," Commander Han said as they walked through the corridors. "The captain has served for 30 years. He survived this long by being cautious." Jisoo nodded. "I understand, sir." Commander Han stopped at a doorway marked Tactical Operations. "Your station is inside. Alpha shift begins at 600 hours. I expect all tactical analyses to cross my desk before they reach the captain." "Yes, sir." The next few weeks fell into a routine. Jisoo worked her shifts in tactical operations, analyzing patrol data and Krell movement reports. When she spotted patterns or had tactical suggestions, she dutifully wrote them up and submitted them to Commander Han. Most never made it past his desk. "Too speculative," he would say, or not aligned with standard doctrine. Jisoo kept her frustration to herself. She had learned patience at the Academy. Her time would come. She made a few friends among the junior officers. Her roommate, Lieutenant Ju, was a navigation specialist with a dry sense of humor. In the officers' mess, they often sat with Lieutenant Kim from engineering and Lieutenant Park from communications. "So you're the famous Jisoo," Kim said during their first meal together. "The one who beat the unwinnable scenario." Jisoo shrugged. "My team beat it. It was a group effort." "Not what I heard," Park chimed in. "Word is you came up with a strategy that worked when decades of cadets had failed." Before Jisoo could respond, a familiar voice spoke from behind her. "Don't believe everything you hear." She turned to see Lieutenant Sunho standing there, tray in hand. She hadn't known he was assigned to the Dauntless, too. "Sunho," she acknowledged with a nod. "Jisoo." He sat at a nearby table, with a group of officers who eyed Jisoo's table with thinly veiled disdain. "What's his problem?" Ju whispered. "Academy rivalry," Jisoo explained simply. She didn't want to get into the details of her history with Sunho. As the weeks passed, the Dauntless patrolled the border of Alliance space, occasionally engaging with small Krell scout ships but avoiding any major conflicts. Captain Min preferred caution, often choosing to observe Krell movements rather than directly engage. Jisoo spent her off-duty hours in the ship's training simulator, running combat scenarios and refining tactical approaches. Sometimes Ju or Kim joined her, impressed by her skills. "You really are as good as they say," Ju commented after watching Jisoo defeat a simulation of 3 Krell destroyers with a single Alliance cruiser. "I just see patterns," Jisoo said. "The Krell are predictable if you know what to look for." One evening, as Jisoo was leaving the simulator, she found Sunho waiting outside. "Still playing your games?" he asked. "Training," she corrected. "You're welcome to join sometime." Sunho seemed surprised by the offer. "Why would I train with you?" "Because we're on the same ship, fighting the same enemy." Jisoo met his gaze evenly. Academy rivalries don't matter out here. Something like respect flickered in Sunho's eyes. Maybe, he conceded. But don't expect Captain Min to let you run wild with your unorthodox tactics. This isn't the Academy. I know, Jisoo sighed. Trust me, I know. 3 months into her assignment, as Jisoo was analyzing data and tactical operations, she noticed something unusual. 3 separate patrol reports showed Krell ships moving away from their normal patrol routes, all heading toward the same region. Sir, she called to Commander Han. I'm seeing a pattern here. Commander Han reviewed her findings with a frown. It's probably nothing. Krell patrols adjust routes all the time. Not like this, Jisoo insisted. They're converging on sector TN-12. There's nothing there except... She checked the star charts. The Taebek Nebula. A nebula? Why would the Krell care about a nebula? I don't know, sir. But it's worth investigating. Commander Han sighed. I'll mention it to the captain. But don't get your hopes up. We're due to rendezvous with the supply convoy in 2 days. He won't want a detour. As predicted, Captain Min dismissed the report. Lieutenant Jisoo is seeing ghosts. Jisoo overheard him tell Commander Han. The Krell have no interest in an empty nebula. We'll stick to our patrol route. Frustrated, Jisoo returned to her analysis, combing through older reports to find any mention of Krell activity near the Taebek Nebula. She found nothing, which only heightened her suspicion. The Krell were meticulous. This sudden interest had to mean something. 2 days later, the Dauntless rendezvoused with the supply convoy as scheduled. As the ships transferred supplies, Jisoo was called to the bridge. Captain Min and Commander Han stood at the tactical display, looking concerned. Lieutenant Jisoo, Captain Min said without preamble, we've received a distress call from an Alliance survey ship near the Taebek Nebula. They report Krell ships in the area. Jisoo kept her face neutral, though she wanted to say, I told you so. The nearest Alliance patrol is 3 days away. Captain Min continued. We're the only ship that can respond in time. We should go immediately, sir, Jisoo said. Captain Min nodded. Prepare a tactical analysis of the nebula. I want to know what we're heading into. Yes, sir. As the Dauntless changed course for the Taebek Nebula, Jisoo worked furiously, analyzing everything known about the region. The nebula was a cloud of gas and dust, rich in rare elements but difficult to navigate due to electromagnetic interference. Perfect for an ambush, she muttered to herself. When they arrived at the edge of the nebula 16 hours later, there was no sign of the survey ship or any Krell vessels. Scan for the survey ship's beacon, Captain Min ordered. No beacon detected, sir, reported the sensor officer. But there's heavy interference from the nebula. They could be inside, Jisoo suggested. The nebula would hide them from Krell sensors. Captain Min considered this. It would hide us too, he mused. Helm, take us in 1/4 thrust. All hands to battle stations. The Dauntless slowly entered the nebula, its external lights illuminating swirling clouds of purple and blue gas. Visibility dropped to near 0, and sensor range was cut by half. This is why the Krell are interested, Jisoo said suddenly, studying her tactical display. The nebula contains high concentrations of trellium ore. Trellium? Commander Han frowned. Isn't that used in Krell jump drive systems, Jisoo finished. Yes, they're mining it. That's why they've been converging here. Captain Min's eyes narrowed. So where are they now? As if in answer to his question, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple contacts, shouted the sensor officer. Krell signatures closing fast. The tactical display showed 5 Krell warships emerging from the nebula, surrounding the Dauntless. It's an ambush, Captain Min said grimly. Battle stations, all weapons ready. The first Krell shots hit before the Dauntless could fully raise its shields. The ship rocked violently, throwing crew members against consoles. Direct hit on decks 4 through 6, reported damage control. Shield generators damaged. Return fire, Captain Min ordered. Target the lead ship. The Dauntless's main guns fired into the nebula, but the swirling gases made targeting difficult. Most shots missed. We can't fight them in these conditions, Commander Han shouted over the noise of another impact. Jisoo studied the tactical display, mind racing. The nebula that blinded them could also save them. Captain, she called out. The nebula's electromagnetic properties, we can use them. Another hit rocked the ship. A console exploded, throwing Commander Han across the bridge. He lay still, blood pooling beneath his head. Medical team to the bridge. Captain Min shouted, then turned to Jisoo. What's your idea, Lieutenant? The nebula disrupts sensors, but it also interferes with Krell targeting systems, Jisoo explained quickly. If we mask our energy signature and execute a series of micro-jumps within the nebula, we can confuse their targeting computers. Captain Min hesitated. It was an unorthodox tactic, exactly the kind he usually avoided. Another hit shook the ship violently. Captain Min was thrown from his chair, striking his head on the railing. A medic rushed to his side. Captain's unconscious, the medic reported. Severe concussion. Commander Jisoo stood at the viewport of Alliance Station 7, watching ships come and go against the backdrop of stars. 3 years had passed since the Battle of Taebake Nebula, 3 years of war against the Krell Imperium. Her reflection showed a woman hardened by experience, with a small scar across her right cheek and eyes that had seen too much combat. Admiring the view, Commander? A familiar voice asked. Jisoo turned to find Captain Dae-hyun walking toward her. Older now, with gray at his temples, but still with the same confident stride she remembered from New Busan. Captain, she said warmly, offering a salute that he returned. It's been a long time. Too long, Dae-hyun agreed. Though I've heard plenty about you. The hero of Taebake Nebula, the tactical genius who outmaneuvered Krell forces at Proxima Station. The commander who saved 3 colony worlds from certain destruction. Jisoo shook her head. Just doing my job. Your modesty doesn't match your reputation, Dae-hyun said with a smile. I always knew you were special back on New Busan, but even I didn't predict how quickly you'd rise. Before Jisoo could respond, her communicator beeped. Commander Jisoo, report to Briefing Room 1 immediately. Duty calls, she said apologetically. Dae-hyun nodded. That's why we're all here. Admiral June has summoned many ships for this meeting. Something big is happening. They walked together through the station corridors. Alliance personnel stepped aside respectfully as they passed, many casting curious glances at Jisoo. Her reputation had grown with each successful mission, but so had the controversy surrounding her methods. Not everyone appreciates your unconventional approach, Dae-hyun said quietly, noticing the mixed reactions. You've made enemies in high command. I know, Jisoo replied. But I've made more friends among the people whose lives were saved. The briefing room was already crowded when they arrived. Officers of various ranks filled the seats, including many faces Jisoo recognized from previous missions. Captain Sunho sat near the front, now commanding his own destroyer. Commander Eunji, her old academy instructor, stood near the wall, having returned to active service as the war intensified. Admiral June entered, and the room fell silent. Tall and imposing, with a reputation for brilliant strategy, he had become the face of Alliance military leadership during the war. Thank you all for coming on short notice. The Admiral began without preamble. We face a grave threat. Our intelligence has discovered a major Krell staging area in the Orion sector. They're gathering for what appears to be an all-out assault on Earth itself. Murmurs spread through the room. An attack on Earth would be devastating, potentially the end of the Alliance. How reliable is this intelligence? Someone asked. Verified by 3 separate sources. Admiral June replied grimly. The Krell are building their largest armada yet. Our estimates suggest they could launch within 2 weeks. He activated a holographic display showing the Krell fleet positions. If they reach Earth, even our home defenses won't be enough. We must stop them before they launch. With respect, Admiral, Sunho spoke up. Their staging area is deep in Krell space. Any direct assault would be suicide. Agreed, Admiral June said, which is why I'm not proposing a direct assault. He looked directly at Jisoo. I'm proposing something more unconventional. All eyes in the room turned to Jisoo. Commander Jisoo, the Admiral continued, your record of tactical innovation is unmatched in the Alliance. I'm giving you command of Battle Group Fist, a strike force specifically assembled for this mission. Jisoo's breath caught. Battle Group Fist consisted of 7 ships, including the new battlecruiser Thunder. It was an enormous responsibility. Your mission, which I've designated Operation Thunderstrike, is to disrupt the Krell Armada before it can launch. Not to defeat it, that would be impossible, but to delay it long enough for Earth to prepare its defenses. A delaying action, Jisoo said thoughtfully. A suicide mission, someone muttered from the back of the room. Admiral June silenced the comment with a look. I won't pretend this isn't dangerous. But conventional tactics won't work here. We need the kind of thinking that gave us the Taebek dance and the Proxima Gambit. He turned back to Jisoo. You'll have complete tactical freedom. Choose your own team. The battle group is yours to command as you see fit. The room was silent as everyone waited for Jisoo's response. She studied the holographic display, mind already working on possible strategies. I accept the mission, Admiral, she said finally, but I'll need specific personnel. Name them. Captain Dae-hyun as my second in command. Commander Yoon-ji as tactical advisor. She paused, then added, and Captain Sun-ho to lead our fighter squadrons. Sun-ho looked surprised at being included, but nodded his acceptance. Done, Admiral Jun said. Battle Group Fist deploys in 12 hours. I suggest you start planning immediately. He surveyed the room. The Alliance is counting on you. All of you dismissed. As the officers filed out, many stopped to wish Jisoo luck or offer support. Some simply stared, wondering if they'd ever see her again. In the planning room, Jisoo gathered her chosen team around a tactical display. For hours they discussed options, each bringing their expertise to the problem. The Krell will expect a frontal assault, Yoon-ji noted. It's what we've always done before. Then we don't give them what they expect, Jisoo replied. We need to think like the Phantom. The Phantom had become Jisoo's unseen opponent over the years. The mysterious Krell commander had adapted to her tactics, creating ever more complex challenges. Their battles had become almost personal. A deadly game of strategy between two brilliant minds who had never met. You think this is the Phantom's operation? Dae-hyun asked. Jisoo nodded. An attack on Earth? This has the Phantom's signature all over it. Bold, unexpected, and perfectly timed. So we need to be even more unexpected, Sun-ho said. He had changed over the years, his arrogance tempered by experience. He and Jisoo had developed a grudging respect that had gradually become genuine admiration. Exactly, Jisoo agreed. She manipulated the display, showing the Krell staging area. We won't attack their fleet directly. Instead, we'll target their supply lines here, here, and here, force them to delay their launch. The planning continued through the night. By morning, Operation Thunderstrike was ready. It was risky, with multiple phases and contingencies, but it played to the battle group's strengths. As they prepared to depart, Admiral Jun visited Jisoo on the bridge of the Thunder. Your plan is audacious, he said after reviewing it. Even for you. The Krell won't expect it, Jisoo replied. No, they won't, Jun agreed. But remember, Commander, your primary mission is to delay their attack. Don't take unnecessary risks trying to score a decisive victory. That's not what this mission is about. Understood, Admiral. As Jun left, Dae-hyun joined her at the command station. Just like old times, he said. You and me against impossible odds. Jisoo smiled faintly. Except now we have 7 ships instead of 1 frightened girl with a rifle. That girl was never frightened, Dae-hyun said seriously. Not really. Battle Group Fist departed with little ceremony. 7 ships slipping away from Alliance Station 7, bound for Krell space and the most dangerous mission of the war. The first phase went perfectly. They used a recently discovered jump point to bypass Krell border patrols, emerging deep in enemy territory without detection. The element of surprise was complete. Their first strikes against Krell supply depots were surgical and devastating. By the time the Krell realized they were under attack, 3 key facilities were already destroyed. On the Bridge of the Thunder, Jisoo directed the battle with calm precision. Years of combat experience had honed her natural talents into something approaching artistry. Phase 1 complete, Dae-hyun reported. Minimal casualties, all objectives achieved. The Krell are responding. Sun-ho's voice came over the comm from his position leading the fighter squadrons. But they're confused, dividing their forces to protect other supply points. Just as we predicted, Jisoo said with satisfaction. Begin Phase 2. Phase 2 targeted the Krell's communication network. Without it, their massive armada couldn't coordinate effectively. Again, Battle Group Fist struck from unexpected angles, using the chaos from the first attack as cover. But as they moved to attack the third communication hub, something changed. The Krell defenders were waiting for them. They've adapted, Yoon-ji said, studying the tactical display. This is the Phantom's work. It's recognized your pattern, Jisoo nodded grimly. Then we changed the pattern. All ships switched to contingency delta. Fighter squadrons pull back to defense positions. The battle intensified. What had begun as a surprise attack became a desperate fight for survival as more Krell ships converged on Battle Group Fist. "We've accomplished our primary mission," Daehyun pointed out after 18 hours of continuous combat. "The Krell Armada can't launch for at least 3 weeks now. We should withdraw while we still can." Jisoo studied the tactical display, seeing an opportunity. "One more target," she said. "Their main weapon development facility. If we can destroy it, we'll set them back months, not weeks." "It's too heavily defended," Sun-Ho argued over the comm. "We've already lost 2 ships and dozens of fighters." "I have a plan," Jisoo insisted. "One final strike, then we go home." The battle group rallied for one last attack. Admiral Jisoo stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship Invincible, watching the stars through the viewport. Her uniform fit perfectly, though sometimes she still felt strange wearing the Admiral's insignia. 1 year had passed since Operation Thunderstrike. 1 year since the battle that had changed the course of the war. Her reflection in the viewport showed the physical changes that had come with her legend status. A long scar ran down her right cheek, a reminder of her duel with Kurzak. Her left eye now gleamed with the subtle metallic sheen of a cybernetic replacement lost during their escape from the Krell flagship. At 32, her black hair already showed streaks of premature gray. "Admiral," a young lieutenant approached hesitantly. "The diplomatic shuttles are approaching Proxima Station." Jisoo nodded, turning from the viewport. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Inform Admiral Daehyun that I'll meet him in the shuttle bay." The lieutenant saluted and hurried away. Jisoo noticed how the bridge crew watched her with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Her legend had grown to uncomfortable proportions. Stories of her exploits were told in every corner of Alliance space. Cadets at the academy studied her tactics. Children played Jisoo and the Krell in schoolyards. She sighed softly. The reality was far less glorious than the legend. The reality was nights spent staring at the ceiling, remembering faces of those lost under her command. The reality was the constant pain in her artificial eye, and the knowledge that for all her victories the war had reached a bloody stalemate. That was why today was so important. After years of fighting, both sides had exhausted their resources. The peace conference on neutral Proxima Station represented the first real hope for ending the conflict. In the shuttle bay, Admiral Daehyun waited. Time had been kind to him, adding dignity to his bearing. His promotion had come after Operation Thunderstrike, when Jisoo had insisted he receive equal recognition for the mission's success. "Ready for this?" he asked as she approached. "As ready as I'll ever be," Jisoo replied. "I never thought I'd see peace negotiations in my lifetime." "That's why they need you there," Daehyun said. "Your voice carries weight with the Alliance military. If you support peace, others will follow." Their shuttle departed for Proxima Station, a massive neutral facility built specifically for the peace talks. As they approached, Jisoo noted the unusual sight of Krell and human ships docked side by side, their weapons powered down. "It feels wrong," she admitted quietly. "After all this fighting, to suddenly talk peace." Daehyun studied her. "You've been fighting the Krell since you were 17, Jisoo. It's been your whole adult life. Peace will require a different kind of courage." Jisoo nodded, thinking of Sun-Ho's sacrifice, of all the others who had died following her orders. "I know, but I can't help wondering if peace will betray their memories." "Or honor them," Daehyun suggested. "What better tribute than ensuring no one else has to die?" The shuttle docked at Proxima Station. Inside, the halls were filled with diplomats and military officers from both sides, carefully avoiding direct contact with each other. Alliance personnel saluted as Jisoo passed. Several whispered her name with reverence. The main conference room was arranged with Alliance representatives on one side and Krell on the other. Jisoo took her place beside Admiral June, now the Supreme Commander of Alliance forces. Across the table sat the Krell delegation, their alien forms imposing even in ceremonial garb rather than battle armor. "The Phantom isn't here," Jisoo noted quietly to June. "Would you recognize Kurzak if you saw it again?" June asked. "Yes," Jisoo said with certainty. "Some things you don't forget." The talks proceeded slowly. Translators worked constantly, converting human speech to Krell language and back. The Issues were complex: border agreements, prisoner exchanges, demilitarized zones, reparations. During a recess on the third day, Jisoo received an unexpected message on her personal communicator. It was written in perfect Alliance standard, with no sender identified. Admiral Jisoo, we should speak privately. Observation Deck C, 1 hour. Come alone. Jisoo's instincts told her who had sent it. She debated informing security but decided against it. This might be her only chance for the answers she had sought for 15 years. When she arrived at Observation Deck C, it was empty except for a single figure standing at the viewport. Even without battle armor, Kurzak was unmistakable, taller than the other Krell with distinctive markings on its skin. Admiral Jisoo, Kurzak said without turning. You came. General Kurzak, Jisoo replied, using the rank she had learned from intelligence reports. Or do you prefer the Phantom? Kurzak turned to face her. A long scar marred one side of its face, Jisoo's handiwork from their duel. Titles matter little between us. We know each other beyond such things. Jisoo maintained a safe distance, aware that she was unarmed while Krell natural strength made Kurzak dangerous even without weapons. Why did you ask me here? She demanded. To speak truth, Kurzak replied. Something difficult to find at the negotiation table. What truth? That this war was a mistake from the beginning. Kurzak gestured at the stars visible through the viewport. It began centuries ago over a misunderstanding, territory disputes between scout ships far from either homeworld. By the time the truth was known, too many had died to admit the error. Jisoo frowned. You expect me to believe 15 years of war was just a misunderstanding? 15 years for you, Kurzak corrected. 2 centuries for the Krell. We are a long-lived species, Admiral. I have personally fought humans for 70 years. Jisoo struggled to comprehend this. Then why continue? Why not end it sooner? Because war has architects who profit from its continuation, Kurzak said bitterly. On both sides. Leaders who gain power, manufacturers who gain wealth. They ensured peace was never possible. Until now, Jisoo said. What changed? You, Kurzak replied simply, and I. 2 commanders who saw the patterns, who fought to win rather than to perpetuate. We brought both sides to exhaustion, forcing them to consider what they had avoided for generations. Jisoo was skeptical. You're saying we accidentally created peace by being too good at war? There is no accident in patterns, Admiral. Kurzak's 4 eyes blinked in what Jisoo had learned was a Krell expression of irony, only inevitability once set in motion. Jisoo thought of all the battles, all the deaths. If what you're saying is true, then everything I've fought for, everyone I've lost, was necessary, Kurzak finished. Painful, but necessary for the pattern to complete itself. They stood in silence for a moment, 2 enemies trying to redefine their relationship in a world where peace suddenly seemed possible. Finally, Jisoo asked the question that had driven her since she was 17. My parents. They were taken from New Busan Colony 15 years ago. Did they survive? Kurzak seemed to have been expecting this question. I suspected that was your motivation. It is why I searched our records. The Krell reached into a pouch and withdrew a small data device. 2 humans were indeed captured during the raid on New Busan. They were sent to a research facility. Jisoo's heart pounded. Are they alive? They were as of 3 months ago, Kurzak said, offering the data device. This contains their location and status. They impressed their captors with their agricultural knowledge. Your father's techniques for improving crop yields have been implemented on several Krell worlds. Jisoo took the device with trembling hands. After 15 years of searching, of fighting, of building her legend, could her parents really still be alive? Why tell me this now? She asked, suspicious of Kurzak's motives. Peace requires more than signed documents, the Krell general replied. It requires understanding between former enemies. Trust built on truth, not diplomatic lies. Jisoo studied the alien face, trying to detect deception. How do I know this isn't a trick? You don't, Kurzak admitted. But you will verify the information because that is who you are, Admiral Jisoo. Thorough, methodical, seeing all patterns. Before Jisoo could respond, Kurzak added, I look forward to meeting you at tomorrow's session. The future of both our peoples depends on those who understand the true costs of war. With that, the Krell general departed, leaving Jisoo alone with the data device and its potentially life-changing information. That night, she showed the device to Admiral Dae-hyun in her private quarters. Could it be true? She asked, pacing while Dae-hyun analyzed the data. The information appears genuine, he said finally. Coordinates for a Krell research facility in Sector 12. Records of 2 humans matching your parents' descriptions. After all this time, Jisoo whispered, sitting heavily on a chair. What if they're alive, Dae-hyun? What if everything I've done becoming this, she gestured at her uniform, her scars, was actually leading me back to them? Then you would have written a story more remarkable than any legend, Dae-hyun said gently. But Jisoo, even if this is true, they won't be the same people you remember. 15 years in Krell captivity. I know, she acknowledged, and I'm not the same girl they knew either. The next morning, Jisoo entered the peace conference with new purpose. When Kurzak joined the Krell delegation, their eyes met briefly. Across the table, a moment of understanding between former enemies. The peace treaty was signed 3 days later. Not a perfect agreement, both sides made painful compromises, but enough to end the fighting.